Hi everybody, it's Gemma. Welcome back to Pampered Wolf and welcome to the final installment of the Best Of series. So many of you asked me to do a full face of all my affordable favourites that I thought I wouldn't actually wait a week to slot that in. I thought we would get the Best Of series out of the way before we moved on to other things. So this is a really nice video to sort of ease me back into filming really slowly after having a couple of weeks off. I love filming videos like this. I just really keep all fingers crossed that you enjoy watching them, as my video on my ultimate favourite full face of 2020 only went live a couple of days ago. So hopefully you'll all watch the affordable version as well. Now, before I crack on with this video, for those of you that don't live in the UK, that don't know what's going on in this part of the world, we are in our third national lockdown, but this national lockdown is very similar to the first national lockdown, where all schools have been closed for the foreseeable future, at least up until the middle of February. So I've got Seth, who's in his first year of senior school in year 7. I've got Beatrice, who is in year 5 in junior school, who I now have to homeschool until at least mid-February. So I will do my best to continue to get 3 videos a week out. If I only manage to get a couple out, I apologise. It's, I feel like I'm juggling quite a lot of things at this moment in time, and we only found out last night that they were going to be at home for the foreseeable future. So we're just going to have to play it by ear. If you aren't already following me on Instagram, please go over to Instagram. It's at Pampered Wolf, all lowercase, no spaces. Follow me over there as well. I will always put an Instagram story up to let everybody know when a new video has gone live, just so that nobody misses anything. So on that note, please also make sure you have hit that subscribe button and also the notification bell so you don't miss any future uploads. Let's get on with this video. Okay, so I'm not going to do my eyeshadow first because I'm going to be using the e.l.f. mini palette in the shade Pumpkin Pie, I think it is. And I get very little fallout. So I'm going to go straight to my foundation. And the foundation that I'm going to use in this affordable full face of 2020 is the No. 7 Hydroluminous. Now, this can't be bought everywhere in the world. I know in the US you can't get this. I actually wanted to use the other No. 7 foundation, which was also in my 2020 favourites, but my mum has that one, so I can't use that one. So just pretend I'm using that one, everybody. So I've popped a little bit of that on the back of my hand. This is the shade Calico. I love this stuff. I'm not going to go on about it too much because you'll all get really upset with me, because I know the majority of you will not be able to buy this product. So I'm going to use my Real Techniques 200, which is a really, really lovely brush. And you can really smooth that out beautifully. This isn't my usual flat topped foundation brush where I like to stipple it in and really pound it into the skin. You can do this with this brush though, which is why I like it, because it's multi-purpose. You can either stamp it in or you can use swiping motions if you prefer. So I always find that the No. 7 shades are either very yellow or very pink. This one is slightly too pink for me, but I find that it alters a little bit to my skin tone. And that goes with the other foundations from No. 7 as well. So as you can see, this is incredibly luminous on my skin. That will soften a little bit as it starts to dry down. It won't be this luminous when I finish my entire makeup. I've hardly used any of this. I still have quite a bit left over on my hand. This area here is at the moment incredibly dry. I've been testing out lots of different products for everybody over the Christmas and New Year period. Some of those products really didn't agree with me. Some of those products absolutely loved my skin, and it took a while to figure out which one was which. So my skin took a little bit of a battering. I am now taking measures to improve that. So I have quite a lot of moisturiser on this area of my face, but it's not looking bad. Gotta say, it's not looking bad. There's just a little bit more texture there than is usually there. I don't think that looks bad at all though. I mean, you can tell why this is my favourite affordable foundation. I'm sorry, I'm not going to mention it again. Not going to mention it. So let's quickly move on to concealer. My favourite affordable concealer is from Revolution. This is the Conceal and Define Infinite, and it's just fantastic. The shade that I choose is C3, which is cool toned, but I find that anything cooler toned or peachier toned helps to hide my dark circles. So I'm actually not going to apply any sort of colour corrector underneath my eye. This is ultimate coverage as well. I think Revolution has a new concealer out, and if that is the case, if I've got that right, I will be getting my hands on that very soon and trying that out for everybody, because I do think that their concealers are just, they're really good value for money and they work. You just need to be very careful how much you're actually applying. So I'm going to be using the Real Techniques Deluxe Crease Brush. This is just great for stippling in place. Love this. So how was everybody's Christmas and New Year? What did you get up to? Did you have to spend it by yourself? Did you manage to see any relatives? What did you get in your stocking? What did you ask for in your stocking? Really interested. Let's get a conversation going in the comments section. I hardly had anything on my list at all, apart from the Olaplex gift set, which, by the way, I didn't get. I don't know. Obviously, Wes doesn't watch my videos. I wouldn't expect him to. I should have hinted a lot more. I should have just gone and bought it myself, shouldn't I? That's what I should have done. That's what I should have done. Anyway, what did everybody else ask for? I think this year it's just not been as important, has it? I think we've all just said, you know, what's important is quality time with one another and actually appreciating what you've got rather than worrying about what you haven't got. I really do think that that has been the case this year. So once that's in place, and that is very pale. Is it not very pale? I look like I've got panda eyes now. Just going to blend that out a little bit. It's looking a little scary. I'm using the Real Techniques blending sponge as well. This is from the Real Techniques brush set that I recommended in my Amazon Best Buys video just before Christmas. I love this. It's really, really nice. And you also have a flat side on there to stamp your foundation in if you choose to use it for foundation as well. I've not actually tried that yet. I should do. Okay, that's not bad. Needs a little bit more coverage. Maybe I should have used a colour corrector. Okay, so I'm going to move on to my eye makeup before I set my under eye concealer in place. I really do want that to dry down a little bit before I start setting it in place. So I'm going to use the e.l.f. Putty Eye Primer. Whoa, dazzling everybody with the bright lights. There we go. e.l.f. Putty Eye Primer. And I'm going to go in with the same brush that I've just used for my concealer, which is the Real Techniques Deluxe Crease Brush. And I'm just going to swirl this in here. This goes very wax-like. It goes very stiff very, very quickly. So you have to be quite forceful with this product. I do think it dries out in the tub quite a bit. But it definitely works. So I persevere. The reason I like this one so much, even though it's quite a stiff product, is because it really does cover up any discoloration on your eyelids. So if you've got any veins that are quite prominent, this will cover those over, as well as creating a canvas that is excellent for your eyeshadows to stick to. So I really like that one, but it is sometimes a little bit problematic to actually get on the brush because it is so stiff. So moving on to the e.l.f. little mini palette in the shade Pumpkin Pie. This is Gemma proof to get in. It's really quite stiff. These are beautiful, beautiful shades. I'm going to go straight in with this lovely terracotta-y, bronzy, orangey foil. It's a metallic shimmer. And I'm going to put that, where am I going to put that? I'm going to put that in the centre of my lid. And right into the corner. I wish this palette had something a little bit paler. Just something maybe more on the champagne-y gold side to really lift this up a little bit. But, you know, it doesn't, and it's only £3, so I really can't complain. Then I'm going to go in with my Refa 15 brush, which is freshly cleaned. And I'm going to dip into this warm brown shade. I always find with e.l.f. shadows that they are super pigmented. I've always found that they are very, very consistent, which is why I really, really like them. They've just released a brand new mint range, and although I'm not keen on mint on the skin at all, I am a little bit intrigued on the new eyeshadow palette that's another one of these quads. So I may pick that up and see what it's like. That's just a nice transition shade. I'm going to go in with the same brush and go in with this more cool toned, deeper brown shade and just dab that on the outer corner, and I am literally just dabbing it. Just to give a little bit of dimension and depth and a little bit of smokiness to the eye. So I'm not going too high up, I'm just dabbing that in the crease and on the outer corner. So pretty. So let me set my under eyes, and before I do that, even though they're not too bad actually because I hardly applied any, I'm just going to go underneath there and just smooth anything out. So I'm going to take my RCMA No Colour Powder. This is a blast from the past. This really does take me back in time to when I first started my channel. Then I'm going to take my damp blending sponge and just tap that in and then dab that underneath the eye. And do exactly the same on the other side. Added way too much on this side, so if you'll just excuse me, I'll just grab a brush and just swipe that off. Look at that. So I'm going to go back in. I've shut this. Why have I shut this? I know I can't get it open. Why have I shut it? Anyway, here we go. I've got it open. I'm going to go back into the e.l.f. palette and take my Refa, what number is this? Number 3 little pencil brush. And I'm going to go into this shade, which is the warm brown. These are so pigmented. They really are. Excellent shadows. Just running that along the bottom lash line. Just gonna flick that up a little bit just to add a bit of lift on the outer corner. There we go. And we can blend that in just a second. Oh, I've not done this eye. Let me go. I've no idea what I'm thinking about. I've not done this eye. I've not finished it off. So let me just go off camera and finish off this eye and I'll be right back. Honestly, bit dopey today. Sorry. So I'm back. I have composed myself. I've done both eyes now underneath the lash line and just flicked that out a little bit to add a bit of lift. I get a lot of questions all the time about what products I apply underneath the lower lash line. I always list all the products in the description box. I mean, sometimes I forget to list certain ones. I have dopey days. probably 364 days of the year. But usually it's listed in the description box. Most of the time on my lower lash line, I apply the same shadows as I apply on the upper lids, because that's just how I like to even things out a little bit. Very rare is it something different, unless it's a kohl liner, and then it should be listed in the description box. But I like to just blend stuff in with the same shadow. I just feel like it just completes the look a little bit. Sometimes I'll put some of the metallic shade maybe in the center or in the inner corner, but more often than not, it's just the transition shade that I run underneath my eyes. Okay, we're gonna move on to powder again. I'm gonna use another Real Techniques brush. You don't have to use Real Techniques brushes. I just got these before Christmas and I think they're really, really nice. This is the Real Techniques 400 brush. It's a nice, fluffy powder brush that's really beautiful and definitely works. So I've just added a little bit of my RCMA No Colour powder to the brush, knocked off the excess, and I'm just going to take a little bit of the shine away from certain areas of my face. So anywhere that I have larger pores, like just here on my cheeks, on my chin area, more on my T-zone. So I'm not going to touch it anywhere else. So I've only applied the powder once, knocked off all the excess, and that will do the entire face for me. I really like this powder. It's a really nice powder. It's not as refined as the high-end powders, so it's not as finely milled, but I mean, it does a job and it does it really well. Let's move on to brows. I'm not going to show you this whole process. I showed it you in the last video. By the way, if you haven't seen my ultimate favourites full face of 2020, I will list that up here and also in the description box for anybody that wants to watch that a little bit later on. But I am going to be using my NYX micro brow pencil in the shade Ash Brown. This is, you know, it's an oldie, but it's a goodie. And then I'm going to use the Bear With Me Brow Setter. Another great product. I'll be right back. So once I've done my brows, I'm going to move on to a liner. I'm going to be using the Epic Ink Liner. This is the limited edition version. Yours will just be plain black. This is from NYX and it's amazing. Now, I said this in the last video, if you want a really thin line, you just need to press the liner at the base of the lashes. That way you'll get a really thin line, especially if you don't have a steady hand. Okay, so moving on to mascara, there has been a little hiccup because my favourite affordable and also cruelty-free mascara of 2020, my mum has. Again, you see a theme here, taking advantage. She does have the run in my room. I always say, do you need anything? Go and get it. She doesn't actually steal things from me. She so does. Anyway, I'm going to be using another number 7 mascara because this is really good. It's just not quite up to the standard of the Full 360 Ultra. This is the normal Full 360. Excuse the new sticker. It was new when I bought it. It's no longer. So this one has a completely different brush. This one is a curved brush, whereas the Full 360 is a straight but very, very bushy applicator. So, I mean, this one's nice. It's a little old though. It possibly needs throwing out now. But we'll use it for the purposes of this video. Okay, so it's about 100 degrees in this room and I can just feel my face getting redder and redder and redder, and my under eyes are still stark white. May have to do something about that in the very near future. Even my NYX microbrow pencil has started to melt. Anyway, let's move on to a little bit of bronzer. You all know the bronzer that I'm going to use. It will be the same bronzer as I used in my previous video because even though it's affordable, it's still my ultimate favourite. I just think this is amazing. I'm going to use my Refa 05 brush for this. It's a great brush. Thank you ever so much, by the way, for everybody that's asked how my mum is. She's doing really, really well. She's staying healthy. She is, you know, just being as careful as we possibly can be. I did manage to see her on Christmas Day because we were allowed in the UK to have one day with 3 different households. So my mum and her partner were one household. My dad is in our bubble anyway, so I got to see my dad as well on Christmas Day. And I got to see my brother and his family, which was, it was sort of a day filled with feeling very blessed that we were able to all see each other, but also a little bit of upset knowing that we're not going to get to see them again for a considerable amount of time. So it was a one day, let's cram as much in as we possibly can, and, you know, just make the most of the situation. I was asked the other day why I use bronzer all the time and why don't I embrace the fact that I have fair skin. I will do a video in the near future where I don't use bronzer because, you know, I think that would be quite interesting anyway. I do love bronzer, absolutely love a little bit of bronzer, but yeah, maybe I should embrace the sort of English roseness and just use a bit of blush and go from there. Would anybody like to see that video? Let me know in the comments section. Okay, so because my under eyes are looking incredibly white compared to the rest of my skin, honestly, the Revolution concealer is amazing. I'm just going to dot a little bit of bronzer underneath my eyes just to even that off a little bit because I'm looking a little flushed. So let's go for a little bit more flushed and go for a little bit of blush. My favourite, honestly, why do they make tubs that you cannot get in? I really cannot get in. I'm going to break a nail trying to get into this. Oh, there we go. This is from e.l.f. and it's the e.l.f. Primer Infused Shimmer Blush. Now, you can also get just the primer infused blush without a shimmer, but I think this is so, so pretty. Really, really pretty. So I'm going to use this one. It's in the shade Always Cheery. And just going to knock off the excess because this is super pigmented. I mean, I'm literally hardly touching the skin. Look how pigmented that is. That's frighteningly pigmented. It's such a great product, this. I'm just going to take that onto the temples, just around the corner to lift. And then don't worry if you are a little bit heavy-handed. If you've got a really, really bright pigmented blush and you go a little bit overboard with it and then go, oh, like I've done here, don't worry too much because we're going to use a finishing powder which will just soften everything off, blend everything together and really just finish everything off. Let's crack open this finishing powder because, I mean, there is absolutely no way I can go out looking like this. So I'm going to use the same brush that I used for my powder earlier on. Dot on a bit of the e.l.f. Halo Glow powder, knock off the excess, and then start swirling. And just keep on swirling and buffing all of that together. Just keep going. Look how much that's softened already and has just given a beautiful glow to the skin. So my favourite cruelty-free, affordable lip product is also from No. 7. No. 7 are a great brand. I can only apologise if you can't get No. 7 in your country because, you know, I featured them quite heavily in this video. I don't even know the shade of this lip product because it doesn't say on the actual product. This is such a beautiful product. It wouldn't have been the shade that I would have chosen for today, but I only have a couple and one is much more pink than this one, so I've chosen this one to go with. I would have gone for something if I had my choice of absolutely everything, something a little bit more neutral, more on the browny orange side to go with my eyes rather than the pinky side. But I still think it's a great product. Absolutely beautiful. I'm going to put a bit of gloss on there. This gloss is from Milani and it's the Keep It Full gloss. Starting to flush again now. Honestly, it's coming in waves. It is so incredibly hot in this room. I've had a lot of comments recently asking me if I've had my lips filled again. As you will have seen from the beginning of this video, the answer is no. My lips looked quite small at the beginning of this video and now they look much fuller. It is all smoke and mirrors. You can do so much with a lipstick. You really can. And with this particular lipstick and with a lot of liquid lipsticks, by just overlining the lip by a fraction of a millimeter, you can really make the lips look so much fuller by adding a gloss on the top, especially in this inner section, even fuller still. So, no, I haven't had anything else done to my lips. It's just all makeup. So that's it for my full face of the best of 2020's affordable products. I really hope you've enjoyed this video as much as I've enjoyed filming it for you. Do let me know what you've thought about it in the comment section below. As per usual, all of the products that I've used in this video will be linked in the description box. All those links are affiliate links, well, most of them anyway, which means that if you do click on them and decide to go shopping, I will earn a small amount of commission, which I can then reinvest back into my channel. Thank you so much for everybody that did that in 2020 and who's thinking about doing it in 2021. It really does make the world of difference, so thank you very much. Have a wonderful rest of your day and I hope to see you all in the next video. Bye everyone.